All right, it's often said that the level of national development in any given country is largely dependent on the extent to which the enormous potentials of its youth are harnessed and utilized by the government to promote and sustain economic growth and social progress. In Nigeria, widespread unemployment has constrained the efforts of the youth to contribute meaningfully to national development. Perhaps in recognition of this anomaly, the Federal Executive Council last week approved the establishment of a 75 billion naira Nigeria Youth Investment Fund to help create financial support base for youths between the ages of 18 and 35 in the country. According to the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, the initiative will help create a special window for assessing credit facilities and financing of ideas, innovations, and support youth enterprise. All right, let's look at this initiative and the impact it will have on youth development. I'm being joined by Dr. Arome Salifu, Executive Director, Africa Youth Growth Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Arome.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I don't know if you were listening to the Minister of Youth and Sports this morning still talk about this Youth Investment Fund on our program Sports this morning. Now, 75 billion naira Youth Investment Fund. What do you make of this initiative?
Thank you so much. I think it is a laudable one, quite progressive indeed. It's something the government has done in good faith, to help ameliorate the sufferings of teeming young Nigerians. It will have a lot of impact on the socioeconomic status of young people, no doubt. It's one thing, however, to make these provisions. It's another thing to see the smooth implementation of the project, to make the desired impact. It is a necessary step, but I must warn, it is not a sufficient step. It will become a sufficient step when we are able to thoroughly, logically implement the intended activities, make the desired impact on the specific target population. We have seen a lot of incidences in this country where money is thrown at a problem, and at the end, we don't get the result. We pray and hope that will not be the situation. Thank you.
We hope so. We hope so. It's not going to be the situation. But before we dwell on the issue of strategies of implementation, now, this initiative is to cater for persons between the ages of 18 and 35. And that brings us to the issue of the concept youth. Who is a youth?
Okay, thank you so much. The truth is, we live in a relatively peculiar, situation as a country. We have a unique context. The UN definition of youth, of course, is not the same as our definition of youth in this part of the world. We have a unique context because of high dependency rate among young people. This is a country that even at 35, some persons are still living under their father's, care. Some persons are still not even sure of their direction in life because of the institutional and systemic, vulnerability that they have been exposed to over the years. And that, again, reiterates the fact that government needs to do more, to ensure that a lot of these young people have sense of belonging early enough so that, when you are talking to young people, youth, you understand that before you are from 25, when you get to 25, you should take full possession of your own life. You should take responsibility for yourself, for your family, and even for the society. And that can only happen when you have an environment that, empowers and develop young people right from, primary, school, stage to secondary, and then to even the university. It's a flow, it's a channel, it's a process that must be followed through. And if there's a break at any point of this process, you will see that there will be stagnation in the development of that person, and that again will prolong the period the person is supposed to graduate from being a young person to becoming an adult, a full-grown adult, taking responsibility. And I must say this, the concept or the definition of youth is relative. You know, it goes with so many things. It goes with the fact that, you know, we are talking about age as a factor. We are talking about, you know, responsibility as another factor. We are talking about the stake the person has in the society as, you know, so there are so many factors, you know, that you can use to define a young person or a youth. However, within our context, I think we have to appreciate and understand the fact that we have high dependency rate among youth population. And so that 35 is fair enough. That 35 is something that is consistent with our reality as a society. Thank you.
Now, youth in any society are known as the leaders of tomorrow. Now, they play a crucial role in the prospect for development. Yes, you lauded this idea. What will this initiative help to, how will this initiative help to address more effectively the problems of the youth and to increase opportunities for their participation in nation building?
Yes, thank you. I think we must look at this from the point of its, you know, impact on so many other, you know, dimensions of the societal, you know, growth and development. You agree with me that for every young person, there's a lot of energy, a lot of potential, a lot of resourcefulness, you know, that come with the age. And that, again, must be properly channeled to the proper and appropriate, you know, ventures. And that goes with so many other things that we've seen, you know, in recent time, that over the years, the investment in the youth sector have been rather, you know, stagnant or literally, you know, of negligible, you know, volume. And so we are now faced with the consequences of long period of neglect of this, you know, population. And now we have high level of, you know, illiteracy, high level of dependency, poverty, unemployment among the youth population. And of course, you have youth delinquency as a result of that, Boko Haram, kidnapping, banditry, and so on. Now, the moment we realize the fact that this same population, they constitute huge asset for, you know, for us as a country and as a people, and we begin to invest in this population, they have the capacity to turn around the fortune of the country in so many dimensions. The moment you begin to empower young people, you are literally empowering the economy. For example, this initiative of 75 billion, you know, naira invested, to be invested in young people, is just like a drop in the ocean. The truth is that we need to literally invest minimum of 1 trillion naira every year to be able to meet up with the investment gap that we have for young people in this country. You know, when you talk of young people and their challenges and unemployment and poverty-related challenges, you look at the fact that they have skill gaps. You look at the fact that they have entrepreneurship gaps. You look at the fact that they have, you know, financing gaps. Now, if you put all of these gaps together and the volume that we are considering, young people in this country are almost about constitute about 70% of the total population. Now, if you look at the number, even according to the National Bureau of Statistics that are unemployed, we are talking of literally almost 40 million persons, young people in this country that are unemployed. Now, that is a huge population that if you empower this population and you make them to be productive, they are likely to make significant contribution to the overall growth of the economy. And the multiplier effect is better imagined. They will be positioned to be able to take, you know, rational political decision. They will be positioned to contribute to their family, you know, livelihood system. They will be in a position to support, you know, the macroeconomic growth altogether. And so you look at the fact that they will contribute ultimately to the micro, small, and medium scale, you know, sector, and thereby contributing to the overall economic, you know, resilience that the country could possess. As we speak, this is the opportunity we have as a country, and if we can harness this opportunity and look at our priorities and get our priorities right as a country, we would indeed be the superpower of not just the African continent, we will be the superpower of the world in time to come. We need to concentrate and focus on developing the youth population, investing in the youth population, prioritizing the youth population, and that way we would not need to invest or budget so much for the security that we have been suffering from over these years, because it's as a result of the negligence or the neglect of young people in so many years, in the past, that we are now faced with the current reality of budgeting trillions and trillions almost every other time for security purposes. If you invest that amount in the development of young people, in the youth population, you will not need to budget such an amount in years to come. And so our leaders, our political leadership must prioritize the youth development sector at this point in time.
Now, is this an answer to the unemployment rate in Nigeria, which is currently at 23%? That's as at the last data, which was 2018.
I must tell you the truth. It will shock you to realize that that is a conservative, figure. We have much more than that. That is what we have for the general unemployment statistics. However, in terms of youth unemployment rate, it's well over 50%. If we have youth unemployment rate well over 50% of the youth population, and we are talking of about how many millions of young people, over 70 million. So you are literally looking at about 35 million persons on the street doing nothing, aimlessly, having no hope whatsoever, no sense of belonging. That is the kind of numbers we are talking about. 35 also number of young persons on the street every day doing nothing in this country. That is enough to cause another emergency in any other climate. I mean, in any other, in some other countries. We need to strategically position our young people.
All right, Dr. Arome.
To take responsibility.
Yes. Dr.
Yes,
Arome,
please.
now the Minister of Youth and Sports described this initiative as first in history. Now, you would recall that during the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, we had the Youth Enterprise with Innovation in Nigeria, that's YouWin program. How is this initiative different from YouWin?
Well, the truth is we have a lot of similarities in terms of the motive, the objective, and the essence. Very similar. We are yet to get the details of what this is going to look like, but from the little that we have seen, we have read, we have been told that it's going to be given to about 500,000 persons per year, for the next 3 years. So on the average, you are looking at, roughly around, 1.5 million persons to be captured under the scheme. And the ceiling is between 25,000 naira to about 50 million naira. Now, YouWin was a competitive process where you apply and then the panelists also will assess your application, and then the best proposals will be considered and funded. Of course, this is akin to almost, YouWin, but of course it's been channeled through the microfinance banks. And again, looking at the ceiling of 50 million naira, I feel, that again is not going to directly solve the priority that we want to solve. The priority we want to solve is how to take these over 35 million young persons from the street to having something doing. Now, to do that, you don't need 50 million naira to give to anybody to do that. And that 50 million naira that you are having as a cap or as a ceiling under this scheme can actually empower another 10 to 20 persons. So we need to set our priorities right. That is not really that you should give as much as 50 million naira, to somebody in the name of empowerment. We don't need that much to empower somebody to start, business. The
All
truth
right,
is that
Dr.
the moment you're able to empower somebody with 1 million naira, 2 million naira, it's
Dr.
possible
Arome,
that the person can grow and... Yes,
I'm
please.
sorry, we really don't have much time here, but just before I let you go, let's look at the issue of funding. The minister said that the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Central Bank of Nigeria, are to source for the required funds to kickstart this initiative. Now, there's already liquidity squeeze in the system. Where are they expected to raise these monies from?
Well, I think that shouldn't be a question, and I will say this for the fact that we have, resources in this country. It's a matter of priority. We have a National Assembly budgeting over 30 billion, to renovate National Assembly. We're not talking about building new National Assembly, renovation. So this shouldn't be a question at all. If we set the priorities right as a country, we should be talking far beyond even the volume of money we are talking about. My concern is not about if the money is available. The concern is if this money would be judiciously applied and the purpose, achieved at the end of the day. That should be the concern.
All right, let's just hope the money is eventually available, because the government is already crying that they don't have money. So a lot of people would wonder, okay, where will they source this money from? Thank you very much, Dr. Arome Salifu, for your time. Dr. Arome Salifu is the Executive Director, Africa Youth Growth Foundation. When we come back after the break, we'll look at the constraints to youth empowerment in Nigeria and the way forward. Just stay with us.